There we go. Hi, I'm Ben. Welcome to my book corner. I am joined today by the founder of Don't Die July, my good friend Noah over at the BookWyrm, who you already probably know, but introduce yourself anyway on the off chance.
Hello, I'm Noah. I am the bookworm, as most people know me, and I am an idiot.
Or, as we prefer, differently intelligent. Now, this month we're doing Don't Die July. This is our third year, and as already mentioned, this was Noah's creation entirely.
Well, you helped.
I just did branding. But where did, first off, the idea to start a summer-based horror readathon come from?
To be honest, it's because of you.
Oh, okay.
Let me explain on that. So you're not really a big horror reader. You love your fantasy, your high fantasy, your dark fantasy, your sci-fi, stuff like that. And you never really dabbled into horror. And I wanted to find a way to somehow get you involved in that and maybe other people. So when I spoke to you about it, it became a thing and you named it Don't Die July.
Yeah, I do that. I take other people's ideas and steal them. Interestingly enough, in terms of genre reads, horror is my third right now.
I'm shocked.
Over the course of BookTube. So, and it's very close. It's nowhere near fantasy. Just to be clear, like fantasy is 3 times in advance of that, but it's got up there. I haven't read much horror this year till this month though. But so my first video on the channel was your fault. It was a book called The Troop by Nick Cutter, which we have differing opinions on, which we've talked about before. We won't go into here because you prefer that and I prefer the better book, which is The Deep. But
it's okay to have a wrong opinion.
I know it is, and you definitely do.
Oh,
what is it about horror? Because horror is your preferred genre. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
As an overall sort of blanket term, anyway. What is it about horror in general? What got you into horror? And then more specifically, horror books as well.
So this is going to be really weird. So growing up, I was terrified of horror. I was not a fan of horror movies, anything like that. I was the most scaredy cat of a person you could possibly ever meet. I mean, I still jump at my own shadow. But
yeah.
There's things in life that suck in a horror sort of sense. And when I started university and I somehow stumbled upon Lovecraft, that kind of drew me into it, the different kinds, because it's not just this one type of horror. It branches up into so many different kind of things, and that made me just dive headfirst into it, and I fell in love with it because of the different kinds of horror that there is.
So did you fall into your love of horror through books first, or was it other media?
Originally, it was actually through a podcast known as The White Vault. And it was like an audio drama type of thing about how these people are isolated somewhere really cold, and these alien type of cryptid eldritch things sort of start happening. And that, listening to that when I was at work at like Pets at Home, like cleaning animals at like 5 a.m, I'd be listening to that and getting creeped out. And then eventually I stumbled into the actual book form of it and fell in love even more.
How many times in your mind's eye, when cleaning out the hamster or bunny cages, did the mouth split open and tentacles come out in your mind's eye when listening to these things?
Quite a lot, because rabbits don't like me. They did bite me quite a lot, so the horror aspect was there for sure.
That's fair enough. Now, you say you used to be a scaredy cat. Let's touch on that very briefly, because I know you personally.
You do.
And you are the most flighty person that I know in general.
And it's not my fault.
No, it's because I just apparate.
Well, people jump out at me at unexpected times. For example, you're a tall person. You should not move silently. And you just appear out of nowhere and like a face appears and you're like, hey. And it's like, oh my God, like things go flying and I do my man scream and stuff like that. But when I worked at Pets at Home, this is how bad it was, how they enjoyed scaring me. So one time was a store was closed and the back shutter starts knocking. I'm like, oh, we don't have a delivery. And I lift the delivery door up and a guy runs in with a balaclava and a gun and starts screaming at me to get on the floor. So I do what any person would do, cover their face and burst into tears. And they start laughing, and it's a colleague. or they jump out of the metal like coffin dog freezers when I'm told to open them, and the manager pops out and I start crying then.
Which I just want to say, on the very first example there, don't do that. Jump out of freezers on people, that's fine. But don't be an armed robber.
No,
please.
He had a water gun that he literally spray painted black.
It would have been even better.
A BB gun, sorry.
All right, I was going to say if it was a water gun and then he shot you with dyed water that was red, that would have been even better. Which says a lot about me. But I find it fascinating because I've been to see horror films with you, and it's an experience because you make me jump more than the films because you jump.
Yeah.
But what is it about because my brain doesn't process this very well. What is it about the experience of being scared or jumped that makes you want to put yourself through that? Because that feels like the exact opposite of what you want to do, unless you're trying to condition yourself to not do it. Which, if that's what you're doing, you are not doing a good job of that. Just on a side point.
Really wish it was, because I was trying to condition myself. It's not. I don't know what it is that just draws me to it. It's maybe the adrenaline. I hate jump scares. Like, I hate jump scares with a passion. But for some reason, when I go watch horror, you are a horrible person. How dare you?
It was coming at some point.
The adrenaline, like afterwards when I've calmed down, like it's like we have a laugh about it. It's funny, you know. With the oh no, it's also that was really good.
So, started Don't Die July. This is our 3rd year of doing it. We have a load of amazing other creators who are now involved with this. Yes. Did you expect this to become a multi-year thing?
I kind of hoped it would, and I'm glad that it did. It's difficult to say if I wanted it to be like a multi-year thing. It was good the first year, and I'm glad that it's continued either way, even if it wouldn't have. It's still something we did, and I appreciate we did something together because it's all about, you know, the people that you do within the community, and even just having one person do it is awesome. And the fact that we've got such amazing people joining this year, like I couldn't be happier with that.
Definitely adding to our TBRs right now.
Too many.
So, how good's your memory?
Questionable from jump scares.
So, obviously, the first year for Don't Die, I'd have to patch my stuff up because I've not got it in front of me. But can you remember any of what you read from your first year? I know last year you didn't have a great year for reading in general, so we'll skip that one. But
yeah, they didn't have a great. Sorry, Peanuts arrived. If you hear it.
The demon cat has arrived.
Yes. Sorry, that really hurt. She's on the keyboard. Sorry about that. I'm trying to think. I know I did. I think it was the Blood Beast Mutations. I believe I did the troop to that. The Deep was definitely in there for that because I knew we did that one together.
I think I did it the year after.
Yeah. What Moves the Dead?
What Moves the Dead was in there.
Yeah. And The Creeper by A.M. Shine.
I read that later on, but what was your highlight from that year?
From out of all the books that we read?
Yeah.
What Moves the Dead? By T. Kingfisher. Yeah, absolutely brilliant, fantastic. It actually had that creep factor that actually gave me like goosebumps, which is rare. Like, even though I read the horrors and I don't normally, as I always say, I'm emotionally dim, it actually gave me goosebumps.
So that gives me a really nice sort of segue point there then. Obviously, horror is a broad umbrella. It's one that, personally, as a reader, I'm not into pure horror itself. I like it. I like horror elements. But you go down a far more visceral path with your reading than I do.
Do I?
A lot more, yeah. Your preference compared to mine. I'll prefer your slow, very slow, methodical.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas you prefer a lot more splatter, shall we say?
Yes.
I think is fair.
Yeah.
How does that preference in books compare to your preference of horror in other media? Because I know you play a lot of horror games.
Not very well.
But you still attempt. Yeah. And obviously you love your horror films as well. The good, the bad, and the ugly in that case, because I've seen some of the ones that you've watched. But what sort of differences do you have in your taste between the three sort of main, what I'd argue are your main genres, not genres, media types for depiction, if any at all?
That's difficult, that one. Like, I love the book form. I've always, I'm so sorry. I've always had a really overactive imagination. So reading books just kind of just like, I don't know, just thrive in my mind. Another, like, yeah, I can happily watch a horror movie, stuff like that, but it depends on the type of horror. Like, I can't stand watching like things with awkward angles of bones and stuff like that. It literally makes me queasy. I can't handle that. You've had to deal with that when we watched a horror movie where I literally latched onto you because I was like so uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
But reading it is a whole different thing. It's bizarre. I don't know why I enjoy the reading aspect more than the actual visual side of it.
So if we then switch that and then put video games in the middle of that, how does that experience vary? Because I have a feeling I know what it is, but because you can't sit and watch it, but you can read it.
Yeah.
Video games are a far more immersive experience than either in many regards.
Yeah.
How does that experience vary?
I think it goes so well because it's not that I play them, it's more the fact that I'll have someone with me when I do it, or even if I stream it on Twitch or YouTube. It's more the fact that I'm not alone in that aspect. So it's us freaked out together, me doing my man screams, and we're all having a good time.
Favorite horror media of all time?
Ooh,
Pick one of each. Make it a bit easier.
One of each. You go first.
I don't really have a favorite because I'm not really, horror films have never been my thing. I don't like jump scares. I'm actually probably worse. It's hard to tell because it's harder to jump scare, but I do not cope well with jump scares.
Yeah.
At all, because I have a very specific response and it is not flight.
Like, no, it's
yeah. Just through my own personal conditioning, and horror games are the same with me. I get frustrated at horror games rather than freaked out at horror games, which is my normal thing in general. I have a very low frustration level. And the weird thing books are more immersive than TV or film.
Yes.
They are. They're not as immersive as video games. And I've never been in a situation where I've been overly freaked out by a book. There's been a couple of books. The Clown Hunt is the obvious example for this.
Oof, which I will never touch, by the way.
No,
for that one reason.
Yeah, which I had to put down, which is due to the wishbone death scene. If you want to know what that is, you can Google it and find out. I don't advise it, but you can do. But that's because of links to some I'm not a serial killer, but that's linked to some previous things in my own past. But I've never had one make me feel scared or nervous. Repulsed, yeah, I've read extreme horror. And I don't like extreme horror because that's not an emotion I particularly need to feel on a particularly regular basis. So it's not for me.
Yeah.
So for me, it always tends to be with horror in general. I like this. This sounds a bit woke. I like the social commentary aspects that you sometimes get. So I like it when it reflects and exaggerates, as a rule of thumb, certain things from either media or modern society now, which is why Bury Your Gaze works so well for me, because it's looking at an issue that is very, very much runs through media in general and is beginning to get better, but is still there.
Yeah.
So that's when horror works best for me. I don't really have a favorite horror. I suppose Hell Followed With Us, but that's a bit of a grey area where that falls. But again, there's a social commentary aspect there, which works for me personally. As for scares, doesn't get... And folklore as well.
Oh, folklore's just naturally creepy anyway.
Yeah, give me creepy rather than scary, because I always sort of break it down. You either have an atmosphere or you have a scare. I don't see them as the same thing.
No.
In many regards. The scare quite often comes at the end. The scare I don't appreciate, but I appreciate the atmosphere.
Sorry, Peanut just fell off the desk.
Like, I had enough of this, Dad. I'm going.
No, she came back. I'm sorry. I apologize for all the noise.
All right. So it's why I can't play things like Alien Isolation, which is a bit of a genre blend, because the atmosphere overpowers me. which is why I'm not playing that this month.
This is the thing, though. I can't handle being chased in a game where you can't fight back and you're being hunted. For the same reason why Pac-Man scares me. I can't play Pac-Man. So I put Isolation and Pac-Man in the same boat, to be honest.
I mean, I'll be honest, if you played Pac-Man now, it'd be worse because you won't be able to see him. So it'd be camouflage chasing you.
Don't say that.
There's a thought for you.
But it's on a black background.
Is it? I don't know. I've never played it. I can guarantee there's probably modern versions that are not on a black background, just to make it even better. That was a feather. or cat.
I think it was cat.
But this Don't Die July. Fully invested this year. Lots of amazing people. What have you read so far?
So I read The Crab Night. Was it the Night of the Crabs by Guy and Smith, which I've been wanting to read for like 3 years, but I couldn't get a hold of it originally. That was a good, silly, stupid read, which I enjoyed. We have what I've just finished is A Lonely Broadcast, which was originally a creepypasta, which I read years ago, and I bought the book thinking, oh, this reminds me of it, and then I realized, no, it is the creepypasta, but it's been reworked and more in depth and just a lot more stuff thrown in there to build up on it, which was really nice, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at the moment. And Maggie's Grave and extreme horror, more splatterpunk more than anything, because it doesn't have that, because a lot of extreme horror has that SA thrown in there, which I'm not a fan of. So it doesn't have any of that in there, but it's still very gory, very gruesome. But it's still fun little read.
And what's up next?
Eat the Ones You Love.
I've heard a lot of good things about that.
It's basically Little Shop of Horrors, which is one of my favorite movies and musicals of all time. So the fact that there's like a book version of it, but also has apparently a really good representation of the LGBTQ, I'm there for.
Pro representation all the way. Because whilst I do live on the internet extensively, what is creepypasta?
So most people know creepypasta for a thing that came into the movies, and also, unfortunately, a murder attempt like the Slender Man. The Slender Man is originally creepypasta, and it's a place where people online on forums write short horror stories, basically, that have kind of lulled into the whole. What's that thing where places have like their own little like horror lore and shit like that? I can't remember what it is.
Pass.
Yeah, I'll think about it one day. But it's basically it's things that have slowly started to turn into like, oh, people think it's real, even though it's not.
But okay, so when I've just finished a cryptid and cryptozoology book, which was like a whistle stop. If you ignore Bigfoot, it was a whistle stop tour of cryptids, because a lot of time was spent on Bigfoot compared to everything else. Which is fine. But
yeah, but it's overdone.
Yeah, a little bit. I think that might be why it had so much time spent on it, because there was a lot. There's possibly more accounts of that than most of the other cryptids, or at least they're easily researchable anyway. I find it really interesting because one that was mentioned in there, and I can't remember the exact name of it. It was one from 2005, which sounded very much like the Slender Man sort of ideal in terms of the way it's described. And I do wonder how much some of these online sort of flash fictions and short stories and so on are influenced by previous things that people have seen, and how that builds out, and how much legitimacy there might actually be there. Because there are examples of cryptids that have been proven to be real.
Yeah, like obviously cryptids is just animals, really, more than anything. But I think with anything, even if something that you've heard from someone else or another friend, there's always like that little spark of truth in something that people have built on to build these fantastical little things. So I believe that, yeah, they've been built up from there easily.
Well, the important thing to think of here is the platypus does exist, and if that can exist, anything
because it's venomous
and it lays eggs.
Yeah, which is baffling because it's a mammal.
Yeah, so if that can exist, all your nightmares can exist.
Did you know otters are into necrophilia? Yeah, they're cute, but they're into that. Take that as what you will.
I didn't. And why does it not surprise me that you know that fact?
I don't
One
know.
day, the CIA are going, not CIA, MI5 are going to arrest you for your search history. You do realize that.
I write weird things.
Like, genuinely.
Yeah, no, I write weird things. It's all good.
Yeah, I've seen your history.
Not.
So, 4 books in so far?
Yes. This is my 4th book. Yes, I'm about to start my 5th.
4th book. Are there any upcoming? No, actually, no. Flip it. Outside of Lovecraft, once you started reading Lovecraft, where did you go to from there then? In terms of your reading, what does your horror journey look like for books?
It's difficult to say because when I got into Lovecraft, like I dived into that so hard and I got so like invested into Lovecraft to a point where I think I didn't read anything else but Lovecraft repeatedly for a good few years because I just found them so interesting. I think after that, I kind of got into sort of a little bit of gothic horror, but gothic horror is very touch and go for me because sometimes it has this really brilliant atmosphere where, you know, it builds up and it's beautiful. But then when you read something like The Whistling, it was just dull and boring and everything was a lie and I hated it.
The minute you said gothic horror, my brain went Whistling.
Yes, that was, I had 3 versions of that.
Yeah, you did. I now have one on my shelf somewhere. I don't know where, or maybe I've lent it to someone. Or maybe I returned it to you just in protest.
No, because it would have been on my shelf.
Or in a bin.
All that.
Who is your favourite horror author other than Lovecraft? Because Lovecraft is obviously kind of a cornerstone anyway.
Yeah, it is.
As a sort of genre, the granddaddy of the genre in many regards. But outside of that, do you have any must-pick up authors?
There is one. Let me try to remember what his name is. Oh, wait, where is it? David Wellington, who wrote the sci-fi horror.
Is that Paradise One?
Paradise One. Thank you. Yeah, I got really confused then. Yeah, David Wellington, Paradise One, sci-fi horror. I've never read sci-fi horror before, and it's so like it builds up, but it's still fast-paced. I don't know if you'd like the really short chapters, but it's short because of like the action that's happening in it. But the things that happened were insanely visceral and creepy that it still lives rent-free in my mind more than the second book.
I have been struggling to think of a sci-fi horror book that I have.
You have that? You can read that? I would appreciate if you read that.
I have deliberately gone out and bought a different one, and that just reminded me that I have Paradise One.
I need someone else to read it because it's not had enough love as it should have, because the things that happen in it, it's not just... We read a book by
S.A. Barnes.
That's the one, yes. And I think it was Ghost Ship. And while it was still good, it was, you knew what was happening even before it happened, and everything was just like, okay, knew that was coming, called that. Well written, but knew that was coming. With this, it was so unhinged, and it's quite a shock to the system in so many ways.
Yeah, but the Ghost Ship was a frustrating read. That was actually one I nearly DNF'd.
I'm shocked.
If I hadn't switched to the audio, which was amazingly done by Lauren Ezzo on a side point, amazing audio book narrator who I've listened to before, I would not have finished that book because the pacing was horrendous.
It was a thing. It was a thing.
But yeah, Paradise One, I might have to hit that one.
No, Ghost Station is one that I liked. It was Dead Silence, the one that we didn't like. Sorry, because Ghost Station I actually really liked. It actually built really, really well. And it did hold the creep factor with that.
Yeah, one day I might go back.
Understandable.
For you, do horror stories work better when they are shorter or longer?
I think it kind of depends on where it's wanting to go. Like the ones that I've read so far, I would class them as short because they're only like 270 something to 300 pages. I would class that as short because I have quite a few chunky books on my shelf. I do think they work a lot better depending on what they're trying to put across and what's happening. But if they're more than that and it's like gothic horror, I'm not going to pick that up.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be as long as that.
How much Stephen King have you read? This is where we set fire to the internet at this exact point.
I've only read one Stephen King book, and it was It, and I hated it because I'm not a fan of clowns. I had to watch one of the movies. But the way that it's written, it's not aged well. I hated everything about it. It was stupid. Sorry. I know people are like, oh my God, he's amazing, stuff like that. And he was into Lovecraft, and he bases a lot of his stuff from there. And I can see where they're coming from, like with like the eldritch sort of stuff, like with the clown and everything else, and the Mist. I've seen the movie Mist and the series Mist. I own the book Mist, which I need to read, but I think that he's overlooked. I think people rant and rave about him too much before they give anyone else a chance.
How much of that do you think? This isn't to bag on Stephen King either, just on the side point.
No, I think he's good for what he does, but I think it's
how much of this do you think it's because of, and you can argue a similar thing with Brandon Sanderson actually in fantasy a little bit. How much do you think it is to do with market saturation? Because he is
everywhere,
and he writes a lot, very quickly.
He does, but a lot of his stuff is also rewritten as well, and then published over and over again.
Okay. I've not read Stephen King, just to be clear as well. I've read one short story. No, listened to one short story. It bored me.
Yeah, I find his writing very boring.
But that's just me. I'm currently listening to a book by his son, by Joe Hill, Nosferatu, which, again, would have DNF'd this if it wasn't for the narration. Narrated by Kate Mulgrew, so I was going to listen to it anyway. It's taken a long time to hook me in. What I do like is, and I don't know why this surprises me, I like the nods to King's work in there. So the Pennywise Circus is mentioned, for example. Bless you. And stuff like that. So I like that, but I don't know what it is with these longer horror. I've only read listened to the couple of short stories by King, and they were fine. It feels, I'm having a similar issue with Nosferatu, like I suspect you had with it, where it feels drawn out to a point, which is why I asked the question about when horror works best, because most of the horror books that I like come in at sub 300 pages, probably.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much of that is emotional exhaustion from the reading, because you've got to maintain that level all the way through.
I find that a lot in just from that one book that I read. A lot of it's just filler when it doesn't need to be.
No wonder you struggled with real time.
Yes, I really did. Oh,
when you're looking at horror books, how do you decide what you're going to buy? Now we all know that I buy in a very specific way that makes no sense and somehow works out.
You cover buy.
I cover buy, and I don't read the blurb. So a couple of things straight away that should not be conducive to purchasing of books. But how do you decide what your next read's going to be? So
originally, I did what silly people do, and that is TikTok. Don't want to talk about that book. That quickly changed my mind, and then I went on to Goodreads, and then I realized that's also not a good way of doing it. A lot of people have different opinions of things that they like, and sometimes I think they're wrong.
Yeah, and just to be clear, other than about the troop, everyone's opinion is valid. If you enjoy something,
absolutely,
even the troop, have at you. Some people like Akatar, which to me is a horror. So
it's not. It's a guilty pleasure because I don't read that type of thing, and I just kind of drew into that. But like you said, like everyone has their own opinions, everyone has their own likes and dislikes, which is absolutely fine. But I ended up having to just. Like when I go out, I kind of do a little bit of like looking. Sometimes I actually watch other people's reviews on them when they're spoiler free, or obviously the blurbs, and then I go and have a look, and then I finally decide that out of all the lists that I've made, that this is something that I do want to buy, because I do have like a 30-page like list of random books that I'll just like cross out when I've decided I don't want that anymore.
Or he foolishly goes book shopping with me, and I go, book!
You are a bad influence, because I once left with like a whole stash of books that I still haven't read.
That's not
It's
my
your
fault. You
fault.
have no self-control.
Yeah, but neither do you, because you've done the exact same thing when I was actually good for once.
I mean, that day I only bought one book.
No, you bought 8 books.
No, that was the next time we went when you bought one book.
Oh,
You
yeah.
resisted. That was a different occasion. And I've read some of those.
All right, show off.
I can't remember what I bought, but I've probably read some of them. So then, is there any books that you've read that you would love to see converted into something else? Or anything else you've seen elsewhere that you would love to see move to a graphic novel or a book format instead? So
I think with horror in general, I think they would both go fantastic either way, to be honest. I think a Lonely Broadcast would do fantastic both ways because of just how everything's so imaginative and what you can actually build and make from that. That's definitely one I would love to see. I think Paradise 1 would be fantastic as like a TV series, like a short TV series, like a 6-7 episode, because it's insane. It's absolutely insane. I would love to see how that would actually look on like my TV. Everything else, I think they're fine as books as they are, to be honest. But I know that Lovecraft itself has a lot of comics and little things that they do with that. But I think most of them are fine as books.
And if I was to say again, we'll throw Lovecraft to one side.
Yeah.
What would you say has been, since you started BookTube, of all the horror books you've read, which one kind of stands out for you as one that you'd go, you know what? Read this. Everyone should read this, even if you don't like horror.
Just because of how short it is, I would say, well, there's 2 books. One would have to be What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. I think that's brilliantly that's a rework of what's it called?
The House of Usher.
Yes.
Or The House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe.
Absolutely fantastic. I think because it's so short, but it builds up so well that's such a short, fast read. And Night of the Crabs, you can't go wrong with killer crabs. It's a stupid, silly book. It's the B movie of books, and it's so funny.
I find it fascinating that you've picked 2 very diametrically opposite books.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair. I've not read Night of the Crabs. I do agree. What Moves the Dead is outstanding. The follow-up isn't bad either.
It's not.
Clear. It's
I hope
totally
there's
very different.
Oh yeah. It's like a filler episode before they bring out the next one.
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, horror as a genre is something that's really filled with tropes as well. Like many, like all fiction is.
It's like how movies have the cat jump scares.
Yeah. What horror trope do you have as a preference, but which one are you always kind of happy to see in books? And which one do you really wish would just go away and die in a corner and not come back?
The one that I wish would actually die in a corner and never come back is some stupid. A lot of books do this because they think it adds to it. It's the stupid dream sequences where something happens and it's like, oh, it was a dream. That didn't happen. It was like, why did you put that in there? If it doesn't add to anything, it's stupid. I don't need that. It's okay. Keep that. That can die in a corner.
Fair enough.
It's annoying.
Fair enough. And which one do you what trope do you kind of tend to enjoy?
I find that so difficult because I'm reading so many different kinds at the moment, and they're all so vastly different from each other.
So I'll give you my trope that I want to die. And this is in books in general, but horror in particular is horrible at this. The killing of the dog.
Do you know why they do that though?
Oh, I know exactly why they do it. It's easier to get that emotional resonance with a pet than it is with a human.
Yes.
But I hate it. And this is not confined to horror. It is not actually confined to books either. Video games have a really bad habit of doing this. I hate it as a narrative shortcut. It's just happened in the book I'm currently reading. It happened in another book I've just read. Oof. I do not need dogs being cleaved in with hammers in every book I read. It makes me very, very irritable.
Yeah.
If it feeds the story, fine, but it's just to get that. If it's just to get that emotional connection and pull, hate it with a passion. I do like that some authors do make a point in the triggers now, because this is a big thing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
The mentioning, is the pet all right by the end of it?
Yeah.
Which I do appreciate. Or does the pet have trauma? But I hate it with a passion. Leave them alone.
Yes, like Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero. You got Tim the dog. the Weimaraner, whatever it is. Such the goodest of boys. He's fine. He's safe. Love that. Horror, little spooky book. Perfectly done.
Yeah.
Easy, simple.
Yeah, but not for... Unless, like, the monster is the animal, which, fine, kill it at the end. That's not an issue. But depending on what it is. But, it just really upsets me. What has been your biggest book disappointment for horror?
For horror, oof, that is... It's a Grady Hendrix book.
Okay. Which one?
So I've only ever read two. I've read How to Sell a Haunted House, and I think it's The Last Girl Support Group or something like that.
Oh, Final Girl Support Group. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that one, like the first one, How to Sell a Haunted House, I really struggled with that mentally. But towards the end, it got good. But the second one was just
mess.
It was a mess. I understand what he was trying to do, but if you've watched Witchy's video on the Wayward Witchcraft Witch House, whatever it's called video,
the new one,
yeah, she actually explains it so well, better than I can ever do, because it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
Witchy Read, I will link their video to go and check out in the description as well. Amazing long form videos, really does her research and dives in.
Yeah.
I've not read any Grady Hendrix yet. I've read a short story, which was 30 pages, which was all right. It was Boogeyman Under the Bed. Fairly standard fare, but that was fine. I've never felt the need to go and read any more based on what I have heard, because I have a suspicion I would throw a book out the window. I think.
I don't blame you.
But what else have you got planned for Don't Die July then? You've got your next book, which I've already forgotten what it was called.
Eat What You Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got that up next. What else are you potentially looking at maybe doing for this month?
I'm actually going to take a little bit of your idea of streaming a horror game, because you're doing The Quarry at the moment.
I am. Things have finally started happening after 6 hours.
Took a while. It took a while. I have a poll up at the moment of some horror games. They're mainly Resident Evil, and if you don't know, like, I love zombies, but I'm terrified of them at the same time. So, man screams.
Yeah. And you might even, if you vote, you might even let you suggest alternative games underneath which he'll play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because watching Noah play horror games is an experience everyone should have once in their life.
Thank you.
There's plenty of clips online of this.
Unfortunately.
So, which caring people have saved.
I might upload them, you know.
You know what?
Make a little montage of it and be like, this is what you can expect.
Well, just like all the screens, but different pictures to a musical soundtrack at the back.
Yeah, for sure.
That's one way you can do it. Do you have any horror books coming out later this year that you've got your eye on? Or you're not really paying much attention to?
I'm not paying much attention at the moment because I've got like kind of stuff going on, and I've got more than enough books to kind of tide me over until then. But I think I'm happy with what I've got at the moment. How about yourself?
Not horror books. Oh no, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a bald-faced lie, because there were 2 out. I think it's 2. I don't know. I have pre-orders and I can't remember what they are. But there's one that sadly doesn't quite fall in Don't Die July, and that's Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle. That's out at the start of August. So this is set in the same universe as Camp Damascus, Bury Your Gaze. But this is set in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm really curious how that's going to go, because of the way Camp Damascus, if you haven't read it, is set around the idea of a conversion camp, gay conversion camp, in like rural America, and someone sort of breaking free of that conditioning and proving that love is real, which is very much a Chuck Tingle thing. Love is real,
yes,
and you are valid. And Bury Your Gaze again is looking at a number of different things, including AI. And the dangers of algorithmic content specifically, but also the old habits of Hollywood forcing the rewrite of queer characters in particular, to fit corporate norms, so to speak. So I'm really curious what you do with sort of the gambling center of North America. Really curious about that. That's how I think the first week in August. And then in my incredibly overbooked September, where I'm reading every book ever written apparently at this point.
You've promised a lot of people.
I have. I'm going to be letting some people down, I suspect.
I'm one of them.
We'll see. I was always going to let you down on Spicy September.
Yeah, even though it was your idea originally.
It wasn't. It was your idea, and I named it. And you went, yay! And then read about tentacles and minotaurs. Not in the same book. Probably. You probably have read books like that, though.
No, I've not. Listen, right.
That's a challenge for anyone.
Morning Glory Milking Farm was a read.
Which Witchy has also read, I think, if I remember correctly.
I'm so happy someone else has.
A few people have. I've seen it a few times.
Yeah, but you've read about sentient doors, though, which I've not.
I have. Unhinged was exactly what the title says. The other one I have coming out is by Andrew Joseph White, and I'm just going to double check what the title is because I keep getting it wrong. It's go away. It's their first. No, I don't want that. Why can't I? Not yet, Spats, that's what I want. It's their first adult horror. And it's called You Weren't Meant to Be Human, which releases on the 9th of September.
Ooh, okay.
So, would you actually like to know the blurb for that?
Read the blurb.
And I'll get the blurb up for Lucky Day as well, actually.
Sounds good.
We'll do Lucky Day first. This doesn't sound very exciting from the beginning of it. A statistics professor tries to survive a series of gruesome and impossibly unlikely disasters linked to a supernaturally lucky Vegas casino, while dealing with her own erasure as a bisexual, which is incredibly timely because of something that's just happened in the US with the Stonewall Monument.
I don't know what's happened.
I believe, like the sort of the online thing, the B has been removed from it by Stonewall, I believe, but I need to double check that. While dealing with their own erasure as bisexual in this chilling and quick-witted horror novel, Vera, a bisexual statistics professor, is one of the survivors of a global disaster of a new kind, the low-probability event. What should have been a simple family lunch turns into an absurd catastrophe, raining fish, parade balloons, exploding manholes, and brutally violent animal attacks. Washed up in the aftermath, it's only when the handsome but problematic government agent Lane knocks on her door that she's offered a glimpse of meaning to life. Lane is investigating the low probability event and believes the deadly absurd events may be linked to an improbably lucky casino. As they hit the road and make sense of the meaningless chaos of life, only one thing is clear. What happens in Vegas isn't staying there. So this actually feels far more absurdist than the first two, which links into Tingle's other books, which are absurdist in many ways.
Yeah.
So that's out on the 12th of August. You Meant to Be Human. Now, I'm slightly scared to read this.
Why?
So I read Compound Fracture by Andrew Joseph White, which came out last year. And
yes.
that I struggled with, and nothing to do with the writing. The writing was really good. The characters were... It's a dislikable character in a world of dislikable characters set in post-Trump Appalachia. And a lot of it, I think, landed with culture shock because we don't really have places like that in the UK. Like,
that's true.
These places, these sort of... The rural communities here are a lot... Generally speaking, at least in England, are a lot more connected because you don't have the lines of cars over here that you have in the US. Whereas you have these dead coal mines where everyone's out of work or working 90-hour weeks, and you know, the houses are just held together by hope more than anything else a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And it felt kind of surreal reading it to me until I watched a video on YouTube actually of someone driving through Appalachia. It was like an hour-long video meeting these people. It's like this generally is what the place is like. In some areas, obviously it varies.
It's so creepy.
But, yeah, it's a beautiful place as well. I can see why you get so many cryptid encounters, inverted commas, there.
Yeah.
But the next one is a sci-fi horror. Alien meets Midsummer in this chilling debut adult novel. So that's the first line. Alien meets Midsummer. Festering masses of worms and flies have taken root in dark corners of Appalachia. Didn't realize it was Appalachia again. In exchange for unwavering loyalty and fresh corpses, these hives offer a few struggling humans salvation. A fresh start. It's an offer that none refuse. Crane is grateful among his hive's followers. Crane has found a chance to transition, to never speak again, to live a life that won't destroy him. He even met Levi, a handsome ex-Marine and brutal killer who treats him like a real man. Mostly. But when Levi gets Crane pregnant, and the hive demands the child's birth no matter the cost, Crane's desperation to make it stop will drive the community that saved him into a devastating spiral that can only end in blood. So, I will... First off, we'll deal with your first question. Yes, the main character is transgender.
Why? Okay, so this is something that makes me uncomfortable, right? Is that people have this thing like they please help.
Okay, so I will also add that Andrew Joseph White is also transgender.
Yeah, but
a transgender autistic author writing a transgender autistic character. Let's just throw that in there first.
Yeah, no, that's all good.
What Noah is trying to say is why he has an issue with people, because there's quite often this fetishization of transgender characters.
I mean, not just in books, it's everywhere, unfortunately. I've had to deal with it through like apps and stuff. Why is there such this huge thing? Like the idea as a trans person getting pregnant, it makes me feel disgusted. So I find it bizarre that people write this happening a lot when it comes to a trans person.
So this is part of the reason I'm a bit uncomfortable to read this book, to be clear. That is like the main reason.
This is why I don't read these types of books.
No, this is why I've said don't read A, B, and C.
Yeah.
But the argument I would make is that this is still a form of horror. It's still a form of body horror specifically. And potentially this is going to be aimed at a particular group, judging by who the author is as well and their own nature. This is a form of horror that I suspect a certain group of society do actually have and would read about. So I understand your point. I don't necessarily... I think it depends on who the author is.
I find it bizarre that someone who's trans can also write about something like that and not feel disgusted, like feel themselves like maybe they do and they're just like, that's going to creep people out. Maybe I'm just overthinking things. I do that quite a lot when it comes to this thing, and I just think, oh, that's not good. But I just I think it's just I'm confused and baffled by it. But as long as like they're doing what they do, I guess, like, and they're happy, they're living their life, I get confused a lot with it.
And the key thing to remember here as well, as we mentioned before, if you like this, within reason,
yeah,
perfectly fine. I will say this does kind of fit into some thematic things from previous books. Not obviously with the pregnancy side of things, but with in terms of the imposter within your own body sort of feel.
Which everyone feels and has. It's not just that.
So in some ways, and I've not read the book yet, obviously. From what I've read of reviews, it seems, because of people who had early access reviews, sadly I have not, it seems to hit a certain chord, which it's probably aiming for. But that's the other one that I'm potentially reading in September, along with everything else I'm reading in September.
You do this too much.
September, the month of tonal whiplash.
You've put so much on your shoulders in September. I don't know how you're going to do it.
With blue or lilac or black hair or red hair, who knows?
We should put a poll for that.
I am putting a poll for that. That's why I bought stuff.
Fair.
It might be dyed before then. But I think they're the only two horrors that I've got. Like, horror isn't my genre, and I know I touched on this earlier. It's not because I have an issue with horror itself. I think it's an example of a genre that works better when it's mixed with something else. A bit like romance in that regard, actually. They're kind of two sides of the same coin in many regards. They work better in conjunction with something else.
Yes.
For me personally, whereas a pure horror story, unless it's folk horror, which then you can argue leans into fantasy anyway, it rarely works for me, unless it's a quick, fast slasher horror, which in terms of books, actually, if I'm going to read a horror and I want a quick read, slasher horror is how I will go anyway. Clatterman, which I read recently. Excellent example that doesn't deviate from the sort of the norms of the genre as well. It's very much a procedural slasher 90s horror movie in book form. You kind of know where it's going, but it does it all so well that it works. That's fine. But long horror just frustrates me because I feel myself. There goes my camera. I feel like I'm screaming at the book. Like, what are you doing? I feel like in the films, it's like, why are you hiding in the wardrobe?
Why have you run upstairs when you were just near the entrance?
Yeah, what are you doing? Why do you think this is a good idea? Why are you not dead? Just kill her already and move on. A bit like how I feel about Feyre. If Feyre was in a horror movie, she'd be dead.
We know you love her secretly. Don't lie. Don't hate me.
Not as much as her. But
oh,
but yeah, that's my thoughts. But yeah, this is our third year of Don't Die July. Should we shout out some of the amazing channels that we've had take part? Because I think
hell yes,
they all deserve some love. So we also do have a well, I have on my channel anyway, I have a playlist for Don't Die July of everyone's videos that I'm updating anytime I get tagged in them. So which we're at 23 video, well, it'll be 24 when this goes up.
That's fantastic.
Which is amazing. So we have the amazing Witchy Reads, who we've already mentioned. Dark Stars Book Cabin, the lady with the best hats until she gives them to me.
Nope, me.
Aaron Hook, our Midlands friend, who covers a load of indie books as well, which massive shout out for that because there's not enough indie love out there. We obviously have myself and Noah. Heroic Book Adventures through a video, and this is a new channel to me. They covered the ruins recently. I absolutely love the backdrop for their videos as well.
So good.
Like, you can kind of see a serial killer sneaking up on them from behind.
Oh.
You have Elaine over. Yep. So Ginger Bibliophile, the bubbliest person in here. You have Elaine over at Cobalt Dragon as well, who, again, yes, the mother of the group. So loads of amazing people. I'm sure there's other people that have said they're going to do stuff, but I've not got them in my playlist, and I have a memory like a fish. So I've probably forgotten people, but that playlist, well, again, I'll link it in the description anyway. But that's up there, and hopefully there'll be lots more by the end of the month because we're only at the halfway point as we're recording this.
That's fantastic.
So to have 23 videos at the halfway point is insane. So, but the question is, do we still do this next year?
Oh, I will be doing it next year if I'm still alive.
And if he isn't, we will reanimate him as a corpse.
Perfect.
Because I'm pretty sure I've got things to do that somewhere. Which will be a surprise to nobody.
No, it's not really.
Where can people find all your stuff?
On YouTube under The Bookworm.
And other socials?
Oh, we're on X/Twitter. Bookworm, same thing. We're on Blue Sky. So we're kind of all over the place, really. Yeah.
Also, look in between the lines on X because sometimes the Bookworm doesn't work.
Which is baffling.
Yeah, but your handle still shows us in the lines.
I've changed it numerous times. It won't stay.
So there we go. Because Noah is allergic to technology, we have that. But anything else you want to talk about before we toddle off?
No.
Anything horror related?
Anything horror related
things coming up?
Not that I know of. I've kind of been pretty down low at the moment, so I don't really have anything to add to that. I'm sorry to say.
One thing we are looking to do, and Noah's Discord will be linked down below, is to try and arrange a little booktube meetup later in the year. Possibly around about just after Halloween, we were looking at, potentially.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, drop into the Discord. I think we have a specific tab for it. If we don't, we will do it in a minute.
No, we definitely do.
So the Discord, we are going to tidy up at some point once we've decided how. So yeah, if you're interested in doing that, and we're interested for ideas of where we can all meet up, drop that in there. But I'm very excited to see what you think of your next book. I'm excited for your Signal. What's it called? The last book, Signal Lonely.
The Lonely Broadcast.
There we go. Not signaling there anywhere, but close enough. I'm excited to see your review for The Lonely Broadcast when that goes up, because I know you have a couple of notes for that one.
I do.
Because you, unlike me, make notes.
Not like they ever work for me.
But
it's a mess. I'm a mess.
Yeah, and obviously you all know where you can find me because you're here. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Noah, for joining me. And also expecting this to not be an interview until I told him yesterday.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
But thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for creating this event as well and allowing me to piggyback off it for 3 years.
You didn't piggyback off. No, thank you for inviting me, first of all. And thank you for creating Don't Die July with me, because I don't think it would have been as much as a thing as it is without you.
I think it would be bigger. But
no.
There we go. But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for watching as well. If you haven't subscribed to Noah's channel, go away. Go do that now. That'd be nice. Thanks. Watch all the videos. But also, if you've enjoyed this, let us know in the comments below. All that jazz, all the normal YouTube spiel that I hate. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you all very soon.
Toodle pip.